That night, the Atlantic Ocean wasn't water. It was a mirror of black glass stretching forever under a sky bruised with stars. On the aft deck of the RMS Titanic, a 20-year-old carpenter from Dublin named Elias shivered in his thin wool coat. In his pocket, he clutched a small wooden bird he'd carved during the voyage. It was a gift for his niece in Boston, a girl he'd never even met. He was third-class steerage, but tonight the cold air tasted like expensive freedom. At 11:40 p.m., the vibration stopped. It wasn't a crash, not really. It was a shudder, a long, grinding groan that vibrated right through the solace of Elias's boots. It felt as if the great iron beast had stubbed its toe on the world, and then silence. The massive engines, the very heartbeat of the ship, went still. Just a propeller blade, a man smoking a pipe nearby laughed nervously. Go back to sleep, lad. But Elias didn't sleep. He couldn't. He saw steam venting angrily from the giant funnels. He saw officers running, their faces tight with a concern they tried to hide. By 12:30 a.m., the slant began. It was subtle at first. A drink sliding across a table, a door swinging shut all on its own. But soon it was undeniable. The horizon was no longer where it should be. The deck was tilting. Elias rushed down to the third-class cabins to wake his bunkmates, but chaos and confusion met him. Gates were locked. Stewards, their eyes wide with terror, formed human chains, holding the steerage passengers back. It's just a precaution. They shouted, but their voices were thin, unconvincing. Elias knew he couldn't wait for permission. He spotted a service ladder, grabbed two young women from his village, Sarah and Maeve, and shouted, "Climb! Don't look down, just climb!" They burst onto the boat deck into a surreal scene. It was a world of impossible contrasts. First-class passengers stood bewildered in silk pajamas and fur coats. The air was biting cold, breathless, and sharp. And then there was the music. Incredibly, the ship's band was assembled near the entrance to the grand staircase, their frozen fingers playing ragtime tunes. A brave, desperate attempt to keep panic at bay. "To the boats!" an officer screamed, his voice raw. Elias saw lifeboat 14 already being lowered and shoved Sarah and Maeve towards it. "Jump!" he roared over the noise. "Not without you." Sarah screamed back, reaching out a hand. "I'm a man," Elias said, his voice cracking with the awful finality of it all. "They won't take me. Go. Live for the both of us." He watched them tumble into the boat just as it jerked downward, dropping toward the black waiting water. By 2 a.m., the ship was groaning in agony. The bow had dipped so low that water was rushing over the forward decks, swallowing everything in its path. The stern began to rise, lifting higher and higher out of the ocean. The lights flickered once, then twice, casting the screaming crowd into strobe-lit silhouettes of pure terror. Elias found a spot near the stern railing. He wasn't running anymore. There was nowhere left to run. He looked over at the band. They had stopped the upbeat tunes. The violinist stepped forward and a slow, haunting melody cut through the cacophony of screams. "Nearer, my God, to thee." Elias closed his eyes. He thought of Dublin. He thought of the green hills and the smell of rain on cobblestones. He took the wooden bird out of his pocket and gripped it tight in his hand. Then a sound louder than a cannon. Crack! The great ship split in two. The lights died instantly, plunging over 1,000 souls into absolute terrifying darkness. Gravity took over. As the stern rose almost vertical against the starry sky, Elias took one last freezing breath. He didn't scream. He just whispered a prayer. The ship slid beneath the surface, not with a splash, but with a horrifying final gulp. 10 minutes later, the ocean was calm again. The great Leviathan was gone. The water was littered with deck chairs, wooden debris, and the chilling silence of the freezing dark. In Lifeboat 14, Sarah shivered, wrapping a blanket around a crying child she didn't even know. She looked back at the empty patch of sea where the greatest ship in the world had just been. She reached into her pocket and found something Elias must have slipped in there when he pushed her toward the boat. It was the small wooden bird. The sun would rise in a few hours, painting the sky pink and gold, indifferent to the tragedy. But beneath that mirror of black glass, the story of Elias and 1,000 others like him was now etched into the iron wreckage forever.